You know, obviously, like, DJ Moore has been a monster the last 3 games. Justin Fields is looking much better. But now, like, with the injury to Justin Jefferson, who are you looking at for Minnesota? Like, Jordan Addison, what do you do with them the rest of the way moving forward? And then what do you do with the Bears, who are actually, like we said, showing some signs of life the last couple of weeks here?
Yeah, ruining our chances. Maybe the #1 overall pick of the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Way to go, Bears. Way to ruin it for us. You need to take the rest of the season, please. I need something to root for because you're not making the stinking playoffs. Yeah, the Bears, I think, are going to rise to the occasion here. I kind of like them on the spread in this game. I mean, Minnesota has just been such a massive disappointment, and now you lose the ultimate wide receiver, you know, arguably the best wide receiver in the National Football League, although you can make a strong argument there for Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson went off fantasy football draft boards consistently, #1 overall. Yeah, if he is on the sidelines in street clothes the next several weeks, there's going to be a lot of tears in the beers as a result there in fantasy land. I'll give you kind of a, not really a dark horse name, but, you know, somebody you know. I think KJ Osborne could really step up in this contest. You know, Jordan Addison, we saw him really accumulate the catches last week. Guys got all kinds of wheels, get all that separation from pretty diminutive, at least at their performance and playing level in that Chicago Bears secondary. But KJ Osborne out of the slot, going to get a lot of great Strowman in coverage, is allowed well north of 100 passer rating. He can really pile up the catches. So whatever the number is on KJ Osborne catches, Oba said maybe 3.5, 4.5, maybe get a plus money on the over at 4.5. I would
yeah, there it is.
Hammer the over on it with KJ Osborne.
I usually, again, like you always in that game, Pittsburgh-Baltimore with a total under 40, if anybody's favored by more than 3.5 points, you just take the dog. Now it's been 21 out of the last 22 times where if you took either of those teams over a field goal, you've won your bet. But there I was yesterday taking Baltimore, and I still can't believe that the Steelers won that game. That pass rush, which struggles when they don't get home, got home. T.J. Watt had the closing sack on Lamar Jackson, rips his helmet off. I think Baltimore bounces back, man. But I don't really want to run and bet this because I would love to get anything under 3.5. Does that make you want to take the Bengals under a field goal? 2.5-point favorites. You got to lay -120. Total's 46 against the Seattle Seahawks. I feel like the Seahawks are the side here, especially the way that defense looks. They had 11 sacks against Daniel Jones and the Giants in primetime. The offense clicking, and they're not even using all their weapons. Like Zach Charbonnet needs more carries. JSN needs more targets. And we're going to get that soon, but I get it, like, because you have DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett. But the way that Seattle's defense is playing right now, I think they're the real deal, and I kind of like them. Even though we're not popping the 3 right now, I don't know that we get there. So for me, I would like Seattle at 2.5, to be honest.
Here's the thing that I think about this game that's really interesting, is it's a classic case of recency bias.
Yeah.
So the Seattle Seahawks go on a bye, and we see the Cincinnati Bengals just absolutely stomp the yard.
Yeah.
So if you're a bettor and if you're Vegas, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, the last thing I saw was the Bengals put down a beatdown. And I forgot about the Seahawks and their 11 sacks against Daniel Jones because they didn't play last Sunday. I bet you if Seattle had an amazing game against the Giants yesterday and not 2 weeks ago, I bet you that the Seahawks might be favored. Yes. Or maybe even at least a pick. So I like the Seahawks a lot in this one.
Yeah, I feel like they're just begging us to grab Cincinnati under a field goal after what we saw yesterday, especially after Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connected on those deep balls. I would rather honestly see McCaffrey win it.
Same.
I mean, like if Brock Purdy, he hasn't thrown an interception this season, though. So if he finishes the season, you know, like 28 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns, 4 picks, over 4,000 yards passing, which right now, like, those numbers look doable. Most likely he's going to get some MVP love, and I don't like the term system quarterback, and he's better than a system quarterback. He's making the throws down the field.
Yes.
He's pushing the ball down the field. He's getting to his second read. But, yeah, he's just not your, like, typical MVP-type quarterback. I'd rather see one of those skill position guys get it like a Christian McCaffrey. But he's definitely live, especially if they finish with 2 or 3 losses, which you look at their upcoming schedule, I don't know who beats San Francisco this season. So, yeah, he might be an MVP candidate when it's all said and done. I think you changed my mind on that.
It was a slaughterhouse. This is the one team. This is the one team, guys, that the Cowboys need to beat in order to get to the next level. You lose 2 years to them in the playoffs, back-to-back, in disappointing, tragic, terrible play-calling fashion. Dak Prescott looked worse than pedestrian. The pass rush that we've been saying was elite. Number one in all these different metrics. And we know, because Ryan told us, that there's only one offensive lineman for the Niners that grades out as an elite offensive lineman, and that's Trent Williams, who's probably one of the best in the business. And what happened?
Problem is he's damn good, damn it.
He's damn good, doesn't he? He takes double, all this stuff. He can figure out a way to get time for Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy didn't even need any damn time, Ryan. He's just throwing lasers across the middle of the field. This team effing sucks, okay? Yeah. I almost really cussed.
Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs, the opener 10.5. Opener as far as the total was 50. We see some 51.5s out there now, but Travis Kelce could be slowed by a foot injury this week. What are you seeing here, Kansas City, Denver?
Well, with the odds maker, I speak with the same odds maker every Sunday night just to get a feel here in Vegas on opening numbers and what the early action is doing. And what he told me last night, obviously, as you alluded to, Ryan, Denver has continued to disappoint. It will be interesting, he said, and you already brought it up, whether Travis Kelce is a full go with only 3 full days of rest. But he said it's not even going to matter, he doesn't think. He said, we're going to need Denver. He said the public is all the way back in on Kansas City after some Chiefs rustiness earlier in the season. And, since suffering that loss to Detroit, KC has won 4 in a row and gone 3-1 against the spread in those games. So, the public, it doesn't take much to get the public back on the Patrick Mahomes bus, and he said they're firmly on it.
Where are people at now with the Bengals, Pat? Because you get a really, really good game from Joe Burrow. He airs it out. He gets the ball to Jamar Chase like 13 times, breaks the Cincinnati Bengals record. Joe Mixon, he was running the ball pretty well. Now they go up against the Seahawks, who are just on a bye. And I told this to Ryan. It feels like a little bit of like, not revisionist, but like the last thing that we've seen now becomes what we expect to happen now that the Seahawks had a bye.
Yeah.
Right. The recency bias is much more in favor of the Bengals. Didn't they have a
lot going on in here, Pat?
Yeah, our brains are
I understand. Trust me. I'm like neck deep in it here, so I'm kind of in your same zone right now. But yes, I think that's a good point, because the recency bias with Seattle is, hey, I don't remember that they beat up on the Giants in primetime 2 weeks ago. I do remember the Burrow hit Chase on a 60-some-yard touchdown pass, and the Bengals looked like the Bengals that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and have been obviously to 2 straight AFC championship games. So I think the recency bias is going to lie with them, and that's what the odds maker told me. However, the sharp side on this kind of like Seattle here. And what he said was, after the Bengals looked like their old selves against Arizona, they opened this at -3. The look-ahead line last week was 2.5, and it got bet up to 3 Bengals, then got bet all the way back down to 2. He said the market, when they reopened 3 last night, just the regular opening line, he said the market promptly went against us, looking to get it back down to that look-ahead number of 2.5 and maybe even 2. But he said, my belief is that this number is going to close at some variation of 3, and which is where they opened the Bengals. And I do think, and he alluded to, the public's probably going to be on Cincinnati here.